All right, so for this game, we have what is essentially just a straight sequencing game. We've got 6 positions. We've got 6 people that we'll be putting into those positions, and nothing really out of the ordinary. We have L, O, P, T, W, Z. So everybody goes just once into one of these 6 positions. So I guess let's take a look at the rules. The first rule says that T is going to have to go at some point before the W, so I guess that takes care of that. Next, L is going to have to go either first or last, so we have to have L either in the first or 6th positions. Next, neither W nor Z goes last, so I guess we can say W, Z cannot go 6, and we can leave a reminder here that W is not going to be last and Z is not going to be last. Although W, we know that W also has to be after T, right? So that does kind of suggest that, well, outright tell us that T is also not going to go last either, since it has to go before the W. So the 6th position at this point is kind of getting tight, right? There's not a lot of people that can go here. I suppose L could go there, and whoever's the leftovers, O and P perhaps could as well, but that's still not a lot. Let's keep going. Last rule, P has to go at some point after either O or L, but not both. Now these kinds of rules, you really want to get used to kind of understanding the implications of what they do. And I mean, what is this telling us? That means that P has to go after either O or L, but very importantly, not both, which means that if P goes after O, then it wouldn't be able to go after L, which means that L is going to have to go on the other side. Or vice versa. If P is after L, then O can't go after, so O is going to end up on the other side as well. Essentially, the kind of practical implication of this rule is that P is simply going to go in between O and L. We'll have to have one of them on one side and the other one on the other side. And actually, wait a minute. Since we were just talking about position number 6, that means that P can't really go there either, right? Because well, he has to go between O and L. So really, that just leaves us with only 2 people, in fact, O and L, who could go into the 6th position. And I suppose, well, actually, if this is an O, then L would then get pushed into 1, and then P would obviously be somewhere in between them. But if L is last, I guess you have a little bit more flexibility. Still, you know what, we could kind of exhaust this because we have a little bit of information that we can kind of pick up here. So we can say either this is going to be an O or it's going to be an L. Now in the top scenario, if O is in 6, then obviously L will have to go first. So we can lock that in place. But if L is in 6, I think we're a little bit more flexible, aren't we? Now beyond that, P obviously has to go between them. So in the top scenario, literally anywhere would work. In the bottom scenario, it kind of depends on where the O would go. And I suppose the only other rule that would remain is T before W, but that's kind of flexible. So this looks like as far as we can take this. Let's see what we can do. The questions themselves. So question number 6 is our standard exclusion question. As usual, we go by the original set of rules. So first rule was that T had to go before the W. So running through the answer choices, A looks good, B looks good, C does not. We have T after W, which is not cool. We can get rid of C. And then D and E, T is first, so we're good. Next, L has to go first or last. So A and B are fine. D is fine, E is not. E has L somewhere in the middle, which doesn't work. Next, W and Z cannot go last, so that gets rid of answer choice A, and the rest are fine. And lastly, so P had to go after O or L, but not both, but in other words, in between the two. So between B and D, answer choice B has P in between the two. We're good. D, however, has P before both, so that doesn't work. So the best answer here is answer choice B for question number 6. And as usual, I guess we may as well plug that into the board. We have LTP followed by ZWO. Next, so question 7 is global. We'll come back to this one in a second. Let's take a look at question number 8. We've got if L is last. Well, actually, I mean, if L is last, that's basically just this scenario. And we couldn't really figure anything else out. I mean, usually you can kind of do a bit more damage with these localized restrictions, but it doesn't seem like we can, right? We have to have T before W somewhere here. And I suppose we can even add that. Okay, so since L is last, the P is going to have to go after O, right? So we're going to have O before P in that template. But still, that seems pretty loose. I don't think we can do much more with this. You know what? Let's take a look at the question. Maybe this is enough information. The question itself asks, if L is last, each of the following could be true, except we're looking for what cannot possibly happen. Answer choice A, T goes fourth, and I mean, maybe if T is fourth, then we could have W5, and O before P could easily fit in the rest, so I don't see why not. Answer choice B, W4. Could we have W in 4? And again, seemingly, I mean, if we put a W here, then the T goes somewhere prior. That seems easy enough, and then O before P, which doesn't seem to be a problem. Answer choice C, can we do O in 5? Oh, no, that's definitely not going to work, right? Because if you put the O into the 5th position, then there's no room for the P to go in between the O and the L. So there it is. Best answer to question number 8 is C. For the record, just in case, P goes 5, and that would be fine, right? Because we can have a P over here, and O would go somewhere prior, so D would have been completely okay. And E, Z goes 5. And sure, we don't have any restrictions on Z, so if Z goes 5th, then the other guys are just going to fit somewhere between 1 through 4. That easily seems okay. So once again, best answer here was C. Next, question number 9. If Z goes immediately after W, so if we have Z after, so a WZ block, effectively. So I suppose the question becomes, what does that tell us? Well, we know that W has to go after the T, so that's certainly something. But we're kind of stuck, aren't we? I'm not really sure what more we can really do here, because that's pretty loose. O, P, and L, whichever way they go, they can kind of move around. There's not that much restriction. I guess we can even look, according to our exhaustions, it seems like we could easily fit the T followed by WZ really almost anywhere on these two boards. So I'm not sure what more we can do. Again, let's take a look at the question. Maybe we have enough information. The question asks, what must be false? So what cannot possibly happen? Answer choice A, L goes first. And I mean, in this template, L seems like it could easily go first, and we could still fit TWZ, so I don't see why that couldn't. B, T goes third. Well, actually, we can even, again, use the top template. If we stick T in here, the WZ would follow in 4, 5, and then P would just go into the remaining spot over here. That seems easily okay. Answer choice C, Z goes third. Could we do, oh, well, actually, maybe. So in the top scenario, that wouldn't work. If the Z goes here, W would have to go there, but then T has nowhere to go. But in the bottom scenario, could we do Z, W, T, and then we can just do O, P, L? That easily seems okay as well. So answer choice C is out. D, P goes fourth. Could we stick the P into the 4th position? And, ooh, okay, so in the top scenario, that wouldn't really work, right? Because if we put the P over here, then the only place to put the WZ block would have been into 2 and 3, but then there's no room for the T. What about the bottom, though? If we put the P over here, then I suppose, well, the only way the WZ block would work is if we had TWZ. Oh, but that's also not going to work, because if the P is over here, then you're going to end up with P, O, and L, but P is supposed to be between O and L, so that wouldn't work. That takes care of it. The best answer to question number 9 is D. Just in case, though, let's take a look at answer choice E. Could we have Z in 4th? And yeah, I think we actually kind of mentally tried that. If we did T, W, and Z, then P would just go into 5 and nothing really breaks. So once again, best answer was D. Next, question number 10. If T goes immediately after L, so let's just kind of get rid of this over here. If we have the T right after L, so an LT block, and I guess the T also has to go before the W. Well, first of all, if we have an LT block, then we are for sure going to be in this top template, right? Because here there's no way that L can be followed by T. So we're going to have an LT block in 1 and 2, and then the O, as per this template, would have to go into 6. Now from there, what are we left with? P still has to shuffle in between L and O, which is really anywhere right now. W is going to shuffle somewhere around here as well. And Z has no restriction. So really, the other guys, W, P, and Z, they can really do whatever. So, okay, let's see what we can do. The question asks, each of the following could be true except. We're looking for the one that cannot possibly happen. Let's go. Answer choice A. O goes third. I guess they made it kind of easy, didn't they? O certainly cannot go third because O is already 6. So the best answer to question number 10 is A. Just in case, though, for the rest of these, W goes third. And yeah, because the W have to go after the LT block, but that's easy enough. Answer choice C. Could we have Z third? And sure, we said W, P, and Z could really shuffle between these positions. So why not, really? Answer choice D. P goes fourth, and same thing, those guys can move around all they want. Answer choice E, W fourth, same thing, they can easily do that. So once again, best answer for question number 10 is A. Lastly, the one global question, number 7. Which one of the following must be true? Answer choice A, at least 2 members are after L. So do we have to have 2 people? Well, no, because we know that in this scenario, for example, L is last. We don't have to have anybody after L. Next, at least 2 people after O. Do we have? Well, again, no, because we could have had O last, as we did several times. So we certainly don't have to have 2 people after O. Next, C, at least 2 people after P. Now, do we have to? Because, I mean, arguably, couldn't we have easily put P into number 5 in either of these templates? Because P just has to be in between these guys, and that would easily seem to work, so I don't see why we have to have 2 people after the P. Next, D, at least 2 people after T. Now, oh yeah, actually that we definitely do, because we know that T is before W, but there's also O or L who are going to have to go 6. So no matter what, T is always going to have the W and one of these 2 guys in the 6th position, so at least 2 people would have to go after T. The best answer to question number 7 is D. Just in case, though, let's take a look at E. At least 2 people are after W, and no, in this scenario right here, we had just 1 person after W, so that didn't have to be true. So once again, best answer here was D.